What's going on, Dividend Chasers? It's the Dividend Bloodhound here with another investing video. In this episode, we are going to talk about how can you improve your credit rating. As always, if you like what you see, please, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel on the button below there if this content brings value to you or helps you out in any way. If you're a returning viewer or returning subscriber, thank you very much for coming back, and please give the like button a smash. That will help the YouTube algorithm and get my content out to more people, which is what I really want, to help as many people as I can. Now, as I've previously mentioned, we are going to talk about how to build your credit rating in this episode, and that is it. It can't be understated just how important your credit score is these days. It's so vital when you apply for credit in any such way, whether it be for a loan or a mortgage. The banks use your credit score, and it's all done mainly computerized these days. So that they don't care who you are as a person. They really don't. All they will see is black and white. This person is good with credit, or this person is bad with credit. And you know, you could be the best person in the world, but if you haven't got a credit history, or it looks like your credit is poor according to the computer, then that's what they'll go with. And you'll either not get the credit that you want, or you'll get you will get a much poorer rate or a higher interest than you would actually typically get. So it is an absolutely vital part of your life, and it's something that I've come to terms with over the course of my dealings with investing. Now, my score isn't probably that good at the moment. I mean, it used to be. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I used to have a score of 999 out of 999 with Experian, which is no mean feat, really. I'm not showing off. I'm not bragging. It was done the hard way by following tips on Experian's website and following these rules that I'm going to these rules and tips that I'm going to read off to you, basically, or things that I did to manage to get that score. And it's something that you can do too, and it doesn't take that long to improve your credit score to a standard of where it's good or bad. And 999, which is what I had, is excessive. You don't need it to be that good. Good is all you need, really. Good and great, which is about over 700, 750 in terms of Experian anyway. There's loads of other companies out there. I'm not advertising for Experian, it's just the one that I personally use. 999 is just that, yeah, it is an excessive score, and there really is no need to be that high, really. And if I was to look now, well, I did look. My score is not 999 anymore. Since I've had that score, I've taken out a hefty car loan, realised it was a mistake, and paid it back. And I've got a much reduced car loan now in a bid to try and pay that off. I've taken on 2 mortgages. I've had some decent credit card debt based on the purchases, based on purchasing 2 properties within quick succession of each other and letting them out. So that's now going to pay dividends for me. I'm just in the process of clearing down some of the debt that I acquired during that process to really make the profit hit. Anyway, enough about that. That's not really necessary, and that's not what you guys are here for in regards to this video. So the tips are: number 1, the most important thing is to have a permanent address. An address that you are registered to vote at, and it's an address that you've been at for a considerable amount of time. You can't just be in there for a few months. It needs to be permanent at where your mailing address is, where if there was a general election or a local election, that's where you would register to vote from. Now, next is you actually have to, as I previously mentioned, sign up for a credit check app or website. As I said, I use Experian, but there's so many others out there, such as ClearScore, where you can actually see where you're at, and you can't take any action towards improving your score until you actually know what your score is in the first place. And you'd probably actually be surprised as to how good your score really is. I mean, if you're here looking for financial tips and hints and investing advice, then I would say that you're in the right field to have the right frame of mind towards money as it is, or you're certainly going in the right direction. Now, by setting this app up, you actually fill in a website up, you actually fill in loads of your details to make you actually exist in the system, in the computer world, and it also will check for fraudulent activity on your account. Now, Experian does charge you for this, or does charge for its premium services, but it's actually like, to give you peace of mind, it's £15 a month. But to give you peace of mind, it's actually really good. They do lots of anti-fraudulent activities, on, like monitoring your email, monitoring your bank details, all to make sure that you are protected in the best way possible in the financial world. The next thing actually would probably surprise some people is you do need to take on some debt. You have to take on some sort of debt, have a credit card, run up some, make purchases on it, run up some debt. But here's the key bit of information: pay it off. And it's not like literally that is as serious as it gets. You get the credit card, you set up a direct debit to pay it off each month, and that is what you do. There's nothing. That's the long and short of it. You use it to buy fuel, do your shopping, make little purchases here and there, but it gets paid off each and every month. And that starts to build your credit history, and that is really important. So you can also do this by taking on a phone contract, taking on a small car loan, or something along them lines. I mean, in theory, you could take out the loan, keep the money in your account, and then just pay it back over time if you were that desperate and you didn't actually want to buy anything. You didn't actually want to buy anything with the money. Not many people would do that, but it's certainly a possibility. Next thing is pay all your debts and your direct debits on time. That is the most important thing. That is your priority. All of your bills are debts and are your priority to pay. Miss the meal out, miss the clubbing, don't buy the designer clothes. Pay your debts, pay your credit cards off, pay your mortgage, pay your car loan. All of that has to come first. For a financially literate person, that is what you would do. That is the priority. Then go and treat yourself to whatever you want. You need to build multiple histories. You can't. It's better to have more than one piece of credit. Not too much so you're up to your eyeballs in it, but you need to have more than one stream of credit. So maybe your phone contract, as I said, a small car loan or a loan for another purpose, a credit card, that sort of thing, where you've got a couple of things, or sofa finance, something like that. Just don't get over a certain level where it goes seriously crazy and takes up such a massive chunk of your salary, because then that means you just become a red flag on the system then, and that means you've got too much debt. So I will do a future video based on like the credit cards that I have. Now, I have HSBC because that is who I bank with, and I have the Sainsbury's credit card as well. So I only have two. Nobody really needs to have more than a couple of credit cards. You need to have one in case of emergency, and I have one with MasterCard and one with Visa, just to make sure that I've got two companies, so I can definitely use one, especially when I'm abroad. And the advantage with Sainsbury's is you actually get extra nectar points when you spend, when you use it on fuel or you use it on shopping, that sort of thing. Obviously, make sure that you're not using it for the sake of it. Actually, when you need petrol, use it, of course, but don't use it for the sake of it. That's what I'm saying there. Another thing is try and keep away from minimum payments with your credit card. As I previously said, take the credit card on, spend a little bit on it, pay it off. Don't just spend, and then ultimately miss the minimum, miss the payment on it, and then the debt starts creeping up then, because that's when the 18% interest that's applied across the card actually starts to hit your account. I mean, by all means, pay the minimum payment each month if you're absolutely desperate. Rather than miss a payment, get in touch with the credit card company and say, look, I can't make however much it is, but I can do the minimum payment, which will be about 20 quid. And that basically all you do with that is you clear is you clear the interest accrued each month, and then you pay a tiny little segment off the debt as well. That is what that is the minimum that you should do. Don't default on the credit card. But this can damage your score if you keep it up. It's okay for a little while, but it will damage your score if you're just minimum paying credit card debt, especially if it's a substantial amount of money. You can also use credit cards to spread out any debt. Make sure that it's a 0% finance, not 0% finance, 0% balance transfer or anything like that to keep the interest costs as low as you can. You need to also have a loan in place and make sure that you pay it each month. Something along them lines where you take on some credit is actually really, really good for your credit score. But if you take on a loan, if you take on a car loan, make sure that you put down a really good deposit. Make sure you put down a really good deposit, and make sure that it doesn't actually take up like more than 20% of your salary each month. There's no point in taking on a huge loan, an unaffordable loan, to take on a car that you, in theory, if you're doing that, if you're having to put that, if you can't afford a 20% deposit and it takes up more than 20% of your monthly salary, and you can't really afford the car. And I'll hold my hands up, I made exactly that mistake. I bought myself not so long ago a brand new Mercedes C-Class, straight off the forecourt, delivery mileage, cost an absolute fortune, and at the time my salary wasn't quite enough to keep up with that, and I did realise, who was I trying to impress? At the end of the day, nobody in my family or my partner were more impressed with that car than they would have been from any other, and hence that is why over time I've changed it for a more realistic car, shall we say. You need to look at your Experian or whatever, or whichever site you ultimately choose, and you need to look at the negative factors. It will have positive factors that are making your score up, go good, and there'll be negative factors on them. You need to target them negative factors. Now they can be a number of things. It could be just being a bit too debt heavy, or you missed a payment, here and there. Clear them, and clear anything that you're late on, or any negative associations whatsoever that affect your score. Get rid of them. It seems obvious, but get rid of them red flags. Then look at the green stuff, and then look at how you can improve the green stuff and the yellow stuff, because traffic light codes it for you, so it's quite helpful in that respect. Target the red stuff. If you have any CCJs or defaults on your account, and they're over, let me just check my facts there, and they're over 6 years old, they shouldn't be on your credit record anymore. So if that's the case, get in touch with the company that the CCJ was filed from, get in touch with Experian and get them cleared off your accounts, because they will massively affect not only your score, but who will actually lend to you. Some companies, banks included, won't lend to people that have got CCJs against their name. If you're not sure what a CCJ is, it's a county court judgment, which means that at some point in time you defaulted on a payment and you either refused to pay it, or couldn't pay it, or declared yourself bankrupt and had to have all of that quashed. And that will stay on your record for quite a while. But once that time has elapsed, you can really build your credit score back up. Most people go throughout their lives in in a really good sort of middle ground sort of level. But I have noticed in a lot of news articles that not just UK citizens, but citizens across the world have never been in more debt. And I think that's due to being under a little bit of pressure to live a lifestyle that you can't really afford. I mean, yes, wages have slowed, and there's you could argue so many different things about that. But people are living beyond their means. They're buying the designer handbag, they're buying cars they can't afford, they're going on ludicrous holidays that they can't afford, and it's being paid for by credit card debt or a loan or something like that. And that is a real problem waiting to happen. And if you're one of those people, it can seriously affect you. You need to get on top of your finances, get a budget going, and really get back in touch with it, because like personal finance, budgeting and credit score, and then ultimately investing, they're all link hand in hand with each other. They all link hand in hand with each other, and if you start the ball rolling on one, they're all linked, and you will eventually get that way. And it's just part of being financially literate, but so to speak, really, and being just on top of it. And that's how you need to be. You need to keep watch on your finance, and your credit score is a big way of doing that. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm just going to go back into it now. So if your score is above, let me just have a look at my notes here. Right, yeah, so a good score means that you'll get better deals, as we've already mentioned. The better deals in terms of interest and rates of pay and all of that sort of thing. The worse your score is, the worse deal that you will get. Noticeably, a good score is anything, a great score is anything above 800. That's like untouchable. That's ding, ding, ding. They absolutely adore you. Middle range scores anything below 800, but above 799. Then your amber sort of region is down to 722, and then anything below 721 is considered bad. But then there's like extremely bad down below that, all the way down to like 0. And the best rates will be available for people that are above that 721, and then they'll creep up slightly better and slightly better as you get all the way up to 999. Credit card companies or credit companies doing credit checks will check your score every single time you apply for finance on anything. So regardless of what it's for, whether it be for a sofa, whether it be for a car, whether it be for your mortgage, it will affect you in some way or another, or a phone. They will all check, even insurance companies, if you're having your insurance out on direct debit, they will run your score and they will see your history. So it's important you get on top of it. And nobody's saying that you need to have 999. It's unrealistic. You don't have to. You don't even have to have a great score. You need to be above that 721. And by taking charge of your finances, taking charge of your lifestyle, and getting on board with Experian or similar is a fantastic way to do that. Now guys, I hope I've added some value to you there, and I've imparted the information properly. No criticism intended. It's just a tip, essentially, just a better way of managing your finances. As I say, I'm not a financial advisor, but I would consider myself to be au fait with money and the way money seems to go these days. I'm just putting this information out there to help as many people as I can. I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't follow my advice exactly to the point or anything like that and then come back on me. You need to do your own research, as a bit of a disclaimer there. Anyway, I'll wrap this video up now. It has been fantastic to have you watching, if you've watched all the way to the end. If you like what you see, please give that like button a smash. If I've really added some value, don't be afraid of the subscribe button either. That would be great. And I'll catch you all in the very next video. Goodbye. See you later.